Welcome to another Rolled in Reacts episode. Customer states, heard a boink sound and then I had to pull over. Turns out that the customer had just installed a new wheel bearing at another shop, but they apparently hadn't tightened the axle nut properly. Customer came in saying that they always do their own maintenance and do it on time, but had to come in because they now had trouble stopping their car. Customer states, you won't believe how she looks underneath. I've kept her in a heated garage since new. The owner of this car came in for an inspection after they had just got it at a bargain price at a local auction. The mechanics discovered that it wasn't such a bargain after all. The owner of this truck had some differential work done at another shop, but had to come in because the shop apparently went a bit overboard with the differential oil. And this Mazda came in with a bad engine knock after the customer had installed a new radiator together with his best friend a few weeks before. This vehicle rolled in because it had stopped moving after the customer had tried to shift into 4th gear on the highway but accidentally forced it into reverse, which resulted in this mess. Customer states, my dipstick tends to get way too excited, please advise. And this customer wanted to drive their tires to the very last mile. Customer came in saying, radio was playing my favorite tune, so I turned it up while I drove through a neighborhood I usually stay away from. And I think I must have hit a swarm of large bugs or something, because I kept hearing these popping sounds. Could you check it out? And the owner of this Volkswagen rolled in saying, no matter how much power steering fluid I put in this thing, it's never enough. Also, it's been overheating lately and I have no clue why. Turned out that the customer had topped up the coolant tank instead of the power steering tank and that they had a pretty bad coolant leak as a result. The owner of this car apparently thinks oil changes are a scam and hadn't had one since he bought the car new, which was 8 years ago. Customer states, cabin fan sounds like Tarzan in a nursing home calling for help. Please advise. And this customer had done some brake work on his car and came in to make sure everything looked alright. It ain't got no gas in it. This car was in for an oil change when the mechanics discovered this. This customer came in saying they recently changed transmission fluid at another shop but has had a constant whining and rattling sound ever since. Original. The owner of this car complained about it being bumpier than normal after their son had borrowed it for the weekend to go see his girlfriend. This car came in after the owner complained about poor acceleration and a whining noise coming from the engine. This car came in because it wouldn't start after an empty portable toilet had fallen out of a car in front of them on the highway and bounced on the hood, which had caused some pretty serious engine damage. This Infiniti came in with some brake issues. Customer states, installed a couple of sport windshield wipers that she found on Temu, but thinks they're a bit too fast for her car and wants the regular ones instead. And this guy had installed some new ball joints, all by himself, using a YouTube tutorial. Customer states, need a bigger ashtray. This customer had apparently stanced out their old brick Volvo about a month prior, but came in after they had hit one pothole too many. Customer states, there's a loud noise when going over bumps. And this car had more than just one owner. Let's play a little game. Can you guess which of these tube seals are broken? Customer rolled in saying that another shop helped them install a homemade sport exhaust system, but now it sounds hella loud.
Very beautiful, very nice.
And the owner of this car had fixed his broken ignition by himself and just came in to see if everything looked alright to the mechanic. Customer states, my Tesla's been acting weird lately. Do you think I need like a software update or something? Customer states, steering wheel wobbles at higher speeds. This customer had just purchased this truck at a local auction for $8,800 and came in to make sure it looked alright underneath. And this customer had installed his very own cat anti-theft system, but had to come in because he now has an annoying sound at all speeds. Customer states, was driving home from work and heard a loud pop. This customer came in because their engine had started to run a bit rough, but that they follow the maintenance intervals stated in their owner's manual to a T. And here's how you know it's a Chrysler Pentastar 3.6 liter. Customer states, buddy of mine said he could squeeze another 50 horses out of my engine, so he tweaked it a bit, but now it runs a bit rough. Customer states, my window is acting a bit strange. This Honda CR-V came in on a tow truck after the owner had hit a bowling ball that had fallen out of a truck in front of them on the highway. Hey, at least it stops. Customer states, installed a new air filter myself, but car now feels a bit sluggish. The owner of this car had their cat stolen a few months ago, so they decided to replace it with a fence post, because why not? This truck rolled in looking like this, after the customer had tried installing a new wheel bearing on it by himself. And this customer had done their own tire rotation, but had to come in because the car had started to feel a bit wobbly when driving. Caramel latte, anyone? Looks good. And this customer had apparently been driving behind a logging truck for a bit too long. This car came in for its first oil change in 48,000 miles. And this car came in because the brakes didn't always work, after the owner's grandson had installed new calipers for them the month before. Customer states, car sounds louder than normal, please advise. This Subaru rolled in with some electrical problems and the customer said, I usually take my car to the same garage, but I wanted to save some cash this time, so my nephew did some wiring work on it for free. The owner of this car said that they hit some smaller road debris on their way to work and came in to have it checked out. And this customer came in and said, hit a larger pothole and then I heard a loud boing sound. If you know the secret behind this one, let us know in the comments below. And it's not only waiters that get tips, sometimes mechanics do too. The owner of this car came in because they're getting a thumping sound when turning and the steering wheel wobbles a lot. Customer states, did an oil change themselves, but didn't want to put too much oil in it in case it would be bad for the engine. And the owner of this truck was on their way home from work when they suddenly heard a loud metallic noise from the back and then the truck stopped. And this customer came in and said, I think there's a goat stuck underneath my car. Customer states, it's gotten harder to put it in gear, please advise. And the owner of this car came in and said that their steering wheel has started to wobble more than usual and wanted the mechanic to have a look. Customer came in saying that their minivan felt like driving a living room on wheels, but that they had fixed it themselves and just wanted the mechanics to do a tire rotation. And out of all things, this guy had decided to save on the paint job for his front spoiler. This customer came in complaining about a jerky feel and strange sounds when braking. The owner of this Mercedes came in saying that it sounds like an electric drill when accelerating. And this customer said that they only needed new belts and that the water pump should be just fine. And this truck came in because it wouldn't start anymore after the owner had installed some new extra lights by himself. Customer came in saying that their car sounds like it's chewing rocks, ever since they had their uncle do some work on their cooling system the week before. This car came in because the owner said that it fizzes and puffs after it gets up to working temperature. Customer states, hit a log on the road and now my car's limping. Turned out to be a broken upper control arm. Customer came in on a tow truck saying that they had raced their best friend at a stoplight but had heard a loud pop from the engine and then it suddenly stopped. And this radiator desperately wanted to be a tea kettle. This Ford Focus came in on a tow truck after the owner had put a new transmission in it a few nights before, but had somehow dropped a bolt in there which had caused quite the mess. Well, that's pretty much brand new. This car came in because it was really hard to steer after the owner had driven through a village in the mountains on a dirt road. And this van apparently has 2 gas pedals. This customer came in because they had a clunking sound while driving, after they had installed some new wheels by themselves. And this car apparently came with a built-in pressure washer. Customer came in saying that their car has been feeling more like a canoe than a car lately, and wanted it checked out. The owner of this truck came in saying, my buddy helped me replace some belts last week, but now it sounds strange. Customer states, car is way too easy to unlock. Customer states, was doing 90 on the highway when I suddenly heard a loud pop. This car came in with a clunking noise after the customer had lifted the car in their very own creative way. The owner of this car had tried installing a new sport suspension kit on their car, but had to come in because, well, it wasn't super successful. And this customer came in with starting issues after they had installed new spark plugs and new intake gaskets at a different shop. Turns out that the other shop had missed tightening the intake manifold and installed one of the gaskets in a pretty interesting way. Not quite sure if I want to know what that is. This guy had installed a custom sport exhaust on his Volkswagen by himself, but now had a pretty bad fuel leak. Customer states, my rearview mirror only works sometimes. This customer came in saying, it's not really a problem, but sometimes my brakes squeak pretty badly. Could you check it out and make sure it's nothing serious? This Mazda rolled in because the customer said it was really hard to get in gear after their friend had installed a new clutch for them 2 months ago. This shop had just rebuilt this beauty and wanted to take it for a little spin. And this car came in because it kept overheating and making a whining noise after the customer had the water pump fixed at a different shop. Customer states, did 120 on the highway the other day when they heard a loud clunk followed by a rattling sound. Wants to make sure it's nothing serious. Turned out that the customer needed a new engine, which was fortunately covered by his insurance company. This truck came in for an oil change when the mechanic discovered that the rear subframe was pretty unique. Customer came in complaining about their car sounding hella bad and running a lot rougher than normal. And this customer came in saying, I don't know why, but my brakes are squeaking a lot more than normal. The mechanic found that the brake pads hadn't been changed since the car rolled out of the factory 15 years ago. This Chevy Silverado 2500 came in with a pretty decent fuel leak after the customer had hit a piece of wood on the highway. Customer states, my girlfriend's car needs an oil change. Please advise. Just an oil change, huh? This customer had just purchased this Volkswagen Beetle from 2006, but came in wondering if it's supposed to sound like this when accelerating. This guy came in with his car because it had a terrible clunking noise after his nephew had done some suspension work for him for free. This car came in on a tow truck and the customer said, "My son borrowed the car to go fishing with his friends, but I had to go pick them up because they had gone off-road racing instead." This car came in with a bit of a leak. This car came in with a blown up transmission after the owner had towed it behind their RV but accidentally left it in first gear. The owner of this car had done some suspension work together with their father the week before, but had to come in due to loud clunking sounds when going over speed bumps. This mechanic was doing a quick inspection of this car when he discovered that the customer was driving around on some homemade slicks. The owner of this car came in complaining about a grinding noise when driving, and this is what the mechanic found. The owner of this car had their boyfriend install a new battery for them, but the car now had intermittent starting issues. And this customer came in because their car had started sounding strange after they let their son borrow it for a few weeks while they were gone on vacation. Oh yeah, it's one of those new scree brake rotors. Customer states, horrible grinding sounds at all speeds. Please check and advise. Easy peasy. And this car had taken some swimming lessons. The owner of this truck came in saying that they were in a rush to get home from work 2 days ago and think they hit a rabbit. Must have been B-rabbit. And if your dipstick ever comes out like this, you're probably in some expensive trouble. And this customer apparently thinks oil changes are a scam and therefore hadn't had one in quite a while. Customer states, had it sitting at 7,000 RPMs for a while because I wanted to max it out on the highway, but then I heard a loud clunk and the engine shut itself off. Customer states, I think I have an oil leak. Can you check it out? Thankfully for the customer, it was just some condensation from the AC unit. This car came in after the owner complained about a wobbly steering wheel after they had done a tire rotation at another shop. Customer states, steering wheel vibration when driving on the highway. Please advise. Customer states, I don't know why, but my brakes are squeaking. Please check and advise. Yeah, looks almost brand new. And this customer had done some beautiful suspension work, all by himself, but had to come in because of a loud clunk when going over bumps. Yummy. This car came in after the owner said, I think my car has an identity crisis or something, because she has started sounding more like a printer than a car. The owner of this car came in saying that they have always done their oil changes at the same quick lube shop, but ever since the last one, their car had started to run unevenly and came in to have it looked at. Customer states, shifter is acting up on me. Please advise. Customer states, whenever I accelerate, there's this chopping sound and the car eventually feels really sluggish. If you have any idea what might be causing this, let us know in the comments below. And this customer said that their tires were barely broken in. The owner of this Toyota had parked it on the street the night before, and when they went to go to work the next morning, they found someone had stolen one of the wiper arms. This customer had their truck in for an inspection 3 weeks prior and said, "Don't worry about it, my buddy's a great welder." Turns out that the weld wasn't welding. This truck came in after the owner said, "I'm just trying to get into my truck, but the doorstep sounds like it's mocking me." And this customer came in complaining about a clunking noise after they had some suspension work done at a local quick fix repair shop. And the owner of this car came in saying, "I have this weird feeling that my car actually wants me to go faster and faster. Could you check it out?" And the owner of this truck said, "I thought it would go faster if I had to." And this Chevy SUV somehow drove into the shop looking like this. This car came in because it wouldn't start after it had been sitting for a while in the customer's yard. Turns out that the car had some new owners that thankfully were okay and got relocated to a new safer home. The owner of this classic Mercedes came in saying that he thinks he hit a squirrel while on his way home from visiting his family and wanted the mechanic to have a look. Customer states, installed new brake pads, but car still squeaks when I brake. And this car came in after the customer had hit a speed bump going a bit too fast. Yummy. And the owner of this car wanted to save some money on wheel bearings, so they installed used ones by themselves, but had to come in because of a clunking sound. This customer came in with their truck like this after their stepbrother had done some welding on the subframe for them for free. I can see why it was for free. And this customer had apparently changed his own brakes, all by himself, but had to come in because of a pretty bad clunking noise. Customer came in saying that they brushed against a curbside when trying to avoid hitting a mouse that was running across the road. This car was in for an oil change when the mechanic noticed the state of the timing belt. When told about it, the customer said, "I only know how to drive and put gas in it. I don't know nothing about what's going on under the hood." This customer came in saying that their car has started to handle like a 95-year-old carrying a washing machine down a couple of stairs. Customer states, tweaked my electric window motor to roll down the windows faster, but I think I messed something up. Please advise. The owner of this car had changed their oil 3 weeks ago at a quick lube shop, but had to come in because the engine had started making strange sounds. Customer states, sounds like my engine is chewing rocks. Now let's play a little game. Which one of these are good? And the owner of this truck said that they might have a coolant leak because they constantly have to top it up with more coolant. Whoa! And sometimes you just gotta make do with what you have. And this customer came in saying, I don't know what the hell's going on, but the car keeps pulling to the right. Can you check it out? This Chrysler 200 rolled in because the owner complained about it idling really rough after they had changed the throttle body at another shop the week before. This car came in after the customer had attempted to fix a brake leak by himself, but it wasn't super successful. And this customer came in saying, took the car out for some Indian food, but I think it was too spicy for it. That doesn't seem right. Customer states, can't unlock or lock my car, please help. Yeah, as good as new. This truck came in for an oil change when the mechanic noticed a beautiful custom paint job under the hood. And this customer had changed his air filter all by himself, but had to come in because the car had really sluggish acceleration. Customer states, did my own oil change and didn't want to overfill the engine with oil. Can you make sure everything looks alright? And this car apparently makes its very own caramel latte. Here's another example of just how much mechanics and car engineers love each other. This customer had let their cousin, who lives in Ohio, borrow their car for the last 2.5 years and had finally got it back and wanted to change oil and filters in it when the mechanic discovered this. Uh-oh. This GMC Terrain came in with quite the noise from the engine bay. The mechanic found there to be very little oil left in the engine, but after a quick oil and filter change, the car ran much better. This customer came in complaining about a clunking noise when turning after they had some suspension work done at another shop. And when your engine oil starts looking all glittery, it's probably too late for an oil change. How to increase the value of your old car, the easy way. Looks great. This car came in with quite the leak. Customer states, loud noise when braking, please advise. And this customer came in saying that they had just fired the car up and wanted to impress their girlfriend by revving it a bit, but heard a loud metallic clunk and rattling sound before the engine shut itself off. Customer states, rattling sound when driving, please advise. Customer came in saying that he had installed some tie rods by himself, but that the steering now feels a bit loose and wanted it looked at. This car came in needing a new engine after one of the bearings had spun. Customer states, growling noises when driving on the highway. Choo choo. And this customer had lowered his car all by himself. And this car came in with a bit of a leak. Customer states, had her younger brother install new belts on her car, but now it whines a lot and has started to smell weird. Yup, looks perfect. And the owner of this car had made and installed a pretty creative cat anti-theft system. Uh-oh. Customer came in really bummed out saying, do you know how to treat cars with OCD? Because mine won't stop cleaning itself, no matter if it's on or off. And this customer wanted to drive their tires to the very last mile. And this wheel hub has definitely seen some happier days. This guy had installed a new sound system in his car, but now had starting issues and the sound system only worked sometimes. What's a Toyota Tundra's favorite meal? Fried rice, because it's always revving to wok. And hopefully this guy has some good insurance. Customer states, hit a blown out tire on the highway and now I have a strange knock every time I hit a bump in the road. Barely broken in. Customer states, my truck only goes to the left, please advise. And this guy had their buddy help them fix their truck's engine fan, but now it felt sluggish when driving, and they also had a pretty awful smell coming from the engine. This tractor's hydraulic system had failed and started to leak oil into the engine, and this is how that looked like. And this car apparently likes its gaskets. Well done. And this car came in with a bit of a leak. Customer states, hit something on the highway while on the way to the airport. Please check and advise. And if your battery ever does this, run away and get a new one. Well, hey there. And this guy had hit a hole in the road that he thought was just a shallow puddle of water. This customer came in saying, every time I press the gas, the whole car rattles real bad. And this car came in with quite the oil leak after the owner had tried fixing it with an epoxy. This Honda rolled in after the customer complained about it wanting to steer by itself. Turned out to be a bad steering rack that needed replacement. This Honda came in with an exhaust leak after the customer had done a pretty creative repair job by himself.
Get to the chopper!
This customer came in saying they had a slight vibration in their steering wheel and wanted it looked at.
Boop boop, all aboard!
Customer came in saying that it's gotten harder to put it in gear after their grandfather had borrowed their car for 6 months. Nice. And this customer came in saying, it's really hard to keep the car on the road, please advise. And this customer had tried to do an engine swap by themselves, but had to come in to get some help. And this car apparently makes its very own vanilla milkshake. Yummy. Customer states, friend of mine did some brake work for me, but on my way home I had to slam the brakes to avoid hitting a rooster on the road. Wheel has been dragging ever since. Please advise. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and until next time.